Good afternoon, Yancey County. Good to be with you again. Thanks for tuning in for this update. We gave you one last week. We were actually with very distinguished guests and our governor of North Carolina, Mr. Josh Stein. And a lot of good things have been going on with that. And I'm here today with our county planner, Mr. Chris Sigmon. And Chris, thank you for joining us today, this morning in this. We had our regular county commissioner meeting last night. It was a very good meeting. And Chris gave us a whole lot of updates about some things that are going on. And I thought this would be a perfect time to update the folks about all that's going on. There's many things. We've got the long-term recovery group. We've got SDR, which we're going to be doing a little bit more with them a little bit later with our debris cleanup. We've got so many good things going on, and I thought that Chris gave a great presentation last night at our commissioner meeting, and I want to thank you for that. All the work that you're doing is tremendous. You have got a whole lot on your plate, and we appreciate everything that you're doing. You got to juggle a whole lot of things, and you're trying to bridge that gap between the federal government, the state government, and the local government, and keep all these things working. And you're keeping the wheels greased for us, so to speak. And we really appreciate your efforts and all that you've done. But if you don't mind, let's talk about a little bit about what you updated us on last night. We've got the Yancey County Long-Term Recovery Group that's been meeting. A lot of volunteers on this group, and they serve in many capacities. Each one of these people are members of the community that have special talents and the work that they do. So they bring to the table some expertise about different aspects of the long-term recovery that we've got. So, and then of course there's a board. So if you don't mind, talk to us a little bit about this long-term recovery group.
Yeah, happy to do so. The long-term recovery group's been meeting for about 6 weeks now. We have 35 members, all volunteers. As Jeff said, people with different disciplines, people who work in construction and run construction companies, people from the educational community, faith-based. We have pastors, we have people in banking and finance, people who sit on boards of foundations. And we are incorporated now. We have filed for our 501c3 status. This group is going to be here we're asking for at least a 3-year commitment from our board of directors.
And of course we know that the recovery will take a little bit longer than that.
It will for sure.
That's the commitment.
That's the commitment to this group.
Yeah.
We're going after a $1 million grant with American Red Cross. We have a deadline for that on the 28th of this month. Because we haven't been in business for at least 2 years to apply for that grant.
Have a sponsor.
We got to have a sponsor. So Amy Wellness, the Avery Mitchell Yancey Wellness 501c3 has agreed to be our sponsor, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah. A good group.
Yes, but we have 4 committees that this group comprises. One is the Finance and Donation and Grant Writing Committee. One is Stream Restoration. One is case management, and that's a big part of what we want to do, is take people who have been devastated by Helene and put them into a case management program that is comprehensive. It's not just how to get money out of FEMA or out of the state. It's what their total needs are to rebuild their lives.
And it's not just one big broad brush that you can put across everybody, because everybody's needs are individual.
That's right.
And then you've got to customize these things. That's
right.
where those case management workers will come in, and they can see one little aspect of their need that they might not get on the next citizen.
Yes.
So they can facilitate that, customize that.
That's exactly right. And we think about individuals and families, but we're also going to put small businesses in case management.
And that's huge.
We got to get our small businesses back in the game here. And then the last group is construction, right? There's needs for construction, bank stabilization from mudslides, driveways, roads, any type of construction. The money that comes in, state or federal, and then working with the nonprofits to fill gaps for those people.
Yeah, good.
That's long-term recovery.
Good. Next, you gave us an update on the roads and bridges, which is one of the hot topics, of course, and it's huge. Our goal and aspirations were to already have all that done, but a lot of bureaucracy in all this, and what you're trying to do, and you've done a great job at that, is to level out the playing field and get all that stuff worked out and taken care of, and you have. But we're now down to this particular fact. You can give us the update here that you gave us last night, which is tremendous. Of course, our first thought in the roads and bridges and how we had to get those things built was, of course, emergency access. and we've got that now. Everything is up to par. But now we've got to worry about the structure. So if you could give us an update about some of that.
Happy to do so. You know, some of this was new to FEMA, right? They'd never done roads and bridges before in a public assistance format, right? They launched that in November, and they didn't have a great process, right? And there was this kind of misnomer about temporary bridges versus permanent bridges, engineered bridges versus non-engineered bridges. You know, to restore emergency access, the litmus test is a 40,000-pound fire truck. That bridge has to hold a 40,000-pound fire truck. However, that's usually an engineered bridge. The Stafford Act, which is legislation that was passed, will not let public assistance do anything permanent. It has to be restoring temporary emergency access. So I kind of got all the FEMA people in one room. We had 20 total people, including the highest ranking ones for our region, and said, okay, are we going to do engineered permanent bridges, or are we going to do temporary unengineered bridges? And it came to light that, hey, we can only fund temporary bridges, right? Under $40,000. And we had found a solution actually in West Virginia. In West Virginia, they use wooden mat bridges in the steep slopes to move real heavy equipment.
Right.
They're inexpensive, they can be built quickly, they can span up to 40 feet. So FEMA said, we will fund those, okay? So we had a list already quoted for them. So $320,000 worth of wood mat bridges are what we're entering into the portal now to be funded by FEMA.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then we had some success with a nonprofit 2 weeks ago, Operation Hilo.
Right.
Those guys have been amazing.
Been a great organization.
It's been amazing. You know, they flew 4,000 missions during the aftermath of Helene and helicopters for us.
Their presence was huge.
And they are focused on Yancey County. They said, we're staying here, we're focused on you guys, but it's not just the helicopters. They came with their checkbook, and they funded 8 of our roads where people were cut off.
Wow.
And those are out to, all of them are with different contractors in the county. So we spread that around to keep our county contractors in the business and that revenue stream flowing for them. So
that's our focus from the beginning.
That's right.
And one of the reasons why we continue to say over and over and over, we're Yancey Strong. We're Yancey Strong. Has been our people. Has been our people. And our people took the initiative, and the response that they had was tremendous. But we had all these organizations and these other groups that have come in and have helped us. On a volunteer basis, by the way, we want to make that known that they were here on a volunteer basis, and we really appreciate their partnership in this recovery.
And they're sticking with us. They're still here.
And they're still here. That's my point. They have been. They didn't just come in, do a few things, and then leave and check that box. They are here, and they plan on being with us on the long term, and we really, really appreciate that.
Right.
So next, let's talk about stream restoration real quick. This is kind of a neat thing, the cane train. So if you will just update us on that. This is the first time I've heard this was last night.
You know,
and I think this is good.
Our rivers lost the vegetation down the stream banks, right? And river cane is kind of like superfood for rivers. It provides shade. It's a nutrient sink, so any fertilizer runoff, it sucks it up. Creates all sorts of insects and bird populations love it.
The ecosystem just really thrives.
And it was native. If you came here, you know, as a settler, all our rivers, the Cane River, were covered in river cane, right? So we've developed a web portal. April Wilson helped us put that on the county website. So if you want to volunteer to help us propagate river cane, we're trying to do 5,000 plantings by July.
Great plan. I love it.
If you're a private property owner and you want us to come on your property along the river and plant river cane, you can sign up in the portal. And if you have patches of river cane, we have them throughout the county, and you want to be a donor, well, we can come take some of that and spread it around. You can set up. We also had the DRC in Virginia grow us 500 plantings. Those were transported last week to Carolina Native Nursery.
Yeah, Process Creek.
Yeah, and they were hurt. They got
tremendous devastation.
And they donated greenhouse space, so they're going to take care of those plantings until late May, and then we'll put those out on the stream. So
this is what you call getting out of the box.
That's right.
This is one of those great ideas. I don't know who come up with it, but it was great. Several years ago, there was some talk about the cane that's grown along the rivers, and the Cherokee Indians, I know, as one of the engineers, I guess, of this, you know, decades upon decades upon decades ago, that they started doing that. Anyway, and I think that that's a great thing, but that's what we do about getting out of the box. So somebody had a great idea there, and I really appreciate them doing that.
One other part of this stream restoration, we
Yep.
received a grant, this group that's focused on this, we applied for a grant, and we got a $50,000 grant to sow wildflowers, native wildflowers, with drones.
Awesome. I think that's
Okay?
awesome too.
So we're gonna be able to fly drones, we're gonna use native wildflower seeds, and you won't see much this year, it's a 2-year germination cycle, but next summer, when they pop, we'll be glad we did it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great thing too. And then last, if you would talk to us about the current North Carolina state funding bill, the Western North Carolina disaster recovery. We talked with the governor last week, and we had a meeting with his staff and his Western North Carolina rep. We had a long meeting with her and talked about some things. She's got a great plan moving forward, and I appreciate their efforts. But talk to us a little bit about this, especially this last bullet point that you have here on this diagram.
Yeah, happy to do so. You know, this is the third bill that has been submitted. The other two didn't pass. This one passed the House. It's in front of the Senate now. Here's what's in it. There's $75 million for agricultural restoration. This is all of Western North Carolina.
Right.
$75 million for agricultural crop loss. $100 million for roads and bridges. Now I have a big bullseye on that.
Yep.
We're number 2 of all the counties.
Yeah,
that
now
were
get
hit.
this. I didn't know this till last night.
Yeah, we're number 2 behind Buncombe in roads and bridges that were destroyed. So, you know, I'm expecting us to get a chunk of that money. They dropped $225 million on asphalt early in January,
Right.
and you know we need some of that money coming our way.
Yeah. Which should be soon.
Should be soon.
We've not received it yet, folks, but
Yep.
we're getting it. We're getting it.
$55 million small business grants, $20 million for debris cleanup, $15 million for the Golden Leaf Foundation,
Right.
earmarked
That's
for small business.
Right.
$10 million for volunteer fire departments. We had several
huge.
volunteer fire departments that were destroyed. $10 million for social services geared towards rental assistance, because some of that FEMA rental assistance is about to run out. And this would be a way to continue that for people that are having to stay in hotels. And $5 million for tourism marketing. There's still $500 million unappropriated at the state level. So, you know, this is a great start. You know, they get this out and get it horsepower to pavement, but there's still $500 million out there they can play with. So
Yeah, the governor and I talked about that last week.
Yeah. And then this last note.
Yeah, this is interesting, folks. Pay attention to this.
Yeah, this is something that we need to think about, because Yancey County is unique. We have 17,379 parcels, homes of land that generate tax dollars.
Right.
People pay property taxes on that. Of that number, 5,926 are out of county residents, permanent residents. So almost a third of our population here that's paying taxes is a second home or a property for someone who lives out of county. We need those people. They're just as devastated. They haven't gotten any funding through all of this.
Right.
They've lost roads and bridges and such. We need them coming back for our economy. And that's something that's, kind of a gap that is not being filled in any way, that we need to try to help those people as well.
Yeah.
I'm all about primary residents first. Yeah,
Of course.
they deserve it and they need it first. This group is going to be real important to our long-term recovery.
Absolutely. And they're our friends and neighbors. And
Sure.
they're part of our community, and we need to make sure that we facilitate their needs as well.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you for the work that
Very
you've
welcome.
done. We appreciate
Yes,
you,
sir.
brother. Everything
Thank
that
you.
you've done, doing a
Appreciate it.
tremendous job. Just keep up the good work. And as always, folks, we appreciate you tuning in. And remember, we are Yancey Strong. God bless.